We all have that one friend, the one who says exactly what's on their mind, no matter what. And that's Sheetal Mars.
That's right. Every week, my friends and I dive into whatever's on my mind: sports, politics, pop culture, even my own struggles, you name it. If I'm thinking about it, we're talking about it.
Unfiltered, unapologetic, and just a little dangerous. Get ready for the wild ride that is Sheetal Weapon. You've been warned.
Welcome to another episode of Sheetal Weapon. I don't know how many we've done. It really doesn't matter at this point. I was good at counting, but we really messed up the counter on the last one. I'm Lethal Sheetal, by the way. I don't do this intro right, ever. I don't think I do it the same way. And now I got to introduce you because you gave me a whole lecture last time. I'm Lethal Sheetal and you're Biggie Trog, aren't you?
I am Biggie
Are
Trog.
you?
And I'm just saying, you've always introduced me until you shook it up randomly.
You know, it's the difference between being medicated and not medicated. I don't know. Honestly, I think the hiatus didn't do me any favors. Mm-hmm. So the refinement that I had achieved by episode whatever the hell, and now is all gone. And I'm very intimidated by this puffy microphone.
Oh, yes.
It's so distracting.
It is intimidating. But if you listened to the last episode, you would know that the count is 387.
That's so many.
I know.
You know, it's like episodes of a sitcom. Mm-hmm. I think the writers are out of material. I think we need to do a clip show.
I think so.
Oh, Josh, we should do a clip show. I think that would be amazing. Mm-hmm. And so here's the way my life is going. Let's say this. Here's the way my life is going. One, I recently was wearing one of those like social battery pins, and I didn't realize that the little thing moved. Like I think I knew that, but I didn't really play with it all that much. And so I spent a whole day like walking around last month with that pin set to 0. So it just showed everybody that my social battery's on 0. And I'm like upset. Like there's a really angry little face in that little corner. And everybody's like on eggshells, like, oh my God, are you okay? What's going on with you? Your social battery's on empty. And I'm like, huh? What? I'm tired. It's the morning times. I don't function well in the morning times. So sure. And that was all day. Like everybody that approached me saw this. And I was wearing I thought it was cool to wear the pin just because it was multicolored. And I was wearing like this black and multicolored dress. And I'm like, it matches. Look at me making an effort. But little did I know I was sending a signal to everyone I know that I hate them and I don't want to talk to them. And since then, everybody asks me like how my battery is and like how I'm doing with all the people around. And I haven't owned up to the fact that that was not an intentional choice. So I'm just going with it. Yes, I have social anxiety. Yes, all the people bother me.
But see, it was true.
But not that day. What was funny about that day is like there were people in town that I really wanted to see. I think I was just really, really tired. And so my behavior matched the pin, but in my heart, I was not on empty. I was at least neutral. I was a yellow.
You were just paving the way for a better future.
I where everybody would just leave me alone.
Exactly.
So we have this office now, which is amazing. And I keep talking about it because it's amazing. But here, you know, we share it with other people. Not that it's all one big open space, but we share the suite with other people. And so there's people walking in and out every single day. And there's a little bell that goes off when they come in. The bell.
The bell infuriates me.
For whom the bell tolls. It tolls for thee.
There are times where that bell will ring and I will go, stop it.
By the way, me too. It's like one of those butler bells. It's really pleasant bell. It's not one of those
Right.
like obnoxious.
It's not a bad bell.
It's not a bad bell. And it's very useful. It's functional because nobody's sitting out in the lobby area. So it lets us know somebody's just kind of hanging out. Like it does. So it's useful. But every time it goes off, I get really tense and I get really distracted. So it pulls me out of whatever hyper focus I'm in. And so I'm so much less productive. Keep in mind now, so that happens generally. The last 2 days have been an anomaly because nobody's here. It has been fucking brilliant.
So
It's
nice.
just so nice.
Because
I did so much work yesterday. I even
Right.
impressed myself.
so like I always get these pings for emails. And so then when the bell rings and then I get a ping, my rage.
Yeah, it is so
I'm like, I don't have time for you. Go away. Can't handle it. It's too much.
And what's funny is no one coming into our office is ever looking for you.
No, but they're people.
It's very people-y. So yesterday I put on Star Trek very loud. I'm not ashamed of it. I put on Star Trek. Our doors were wide open. Bruno was off leash. He was just puffing all over the office. And we got so much done. You left at what, 10?
10:30.
Yeah, you left late. And I left at 7, but worked like straight through. It was just nonstop. And so it was really productive. And I get so much more done when I don't have that distraction. So it's, we set the rule.
Speaking of distractions, you had told me about my phone, and then your phone's ringing. So professional.
So what happened was,
Not listening.
I did. I set that rule. I kind of gave you the what for about it.
Exactly.
But keep in mind, I don't have to laugh at my own jokes. Like, I can be distracted. You have to laugh at my jokes. So if you miss the joke and you're not laughing, this whole show is for naught.
Okay.
Like, there's no point.
Okay. But that's not,
but
you're
what
gonna miss your own joke because the phone goes off. You're gonna be in the middle of a joke and then ring, and you'll come back after the ringing having forgotten where you were and what joke you were telling.
What's funny is I do, and you're right, like, the level of hypocrisy by me. And keep in mind right now, I got to tell my husband that I'm recording because that's who's calling me. Because I'm a good person and I'm not just going to click him off. Come on, press the button. All right. See? Okay. So I know. Okay.
Can't believe you.
Okay. I take the demerit. I take the hit. I did not follow my own instructions.
I mean, come on. This is episode, what? 917?
Okay, so here's the thing.
And you haven't learned by now?
But here's the thing. I'm 40, menopausal, ADHD. I am midlife crisising hard. I spent an hour and a half talking about peepees and poo-poos on the last episode.
And let me tell you, it was glorious.
And let me tell you, I'm a professional.
It was professional.
If all of that is not an indicator of how intelligent I am and how good I am at my job and how seriously I take this podcast.
Well, but don't just allude to it. Tell the new listener the great wisdom about the peepees and poopies. You told them many times in the last episode, so they need to know. They need to know.
I said it so many times. You know what's mortifying? You know what's funny? I took the card out to send this to Josh. And I was like ashamed. Did I really say that? Like, and not only did I say it, you reminded me, you're like, you said it a lot. Like, I don't know what I'm doing with my life anymore. Like, I don't know. And by the way, if you're wondering, how could it be? What made it so? We went there because we couldn't talk professionally about a serious topic. Like, we're like, let's be so lowbrow.
Right.
Let's just take it straight to the toilet because we can't aspire to a better level of human discourse.
Okay, I take issue with that. See, I feel like we came ready to solve America's problems, and America's problems are public restrooms. All right, let's be real here. They're disgusting. It's an epidemic.
Okay, so I'm going to end the debate right now because I don't want to do. I don't want to do because I could. Here's the thing: it's so much material. It's so much. It's like there's so much to talk about. But here's where I stand on this, and this is going to be the final word. I don't want to be the arbiter of people's junk status. Like, I don't want to have to look at somebody and go, what's your junk situation here? Like, I just don't.
I just want to not be afraid of throwing up when I walk into a restroom. Not afraid of people, but afraid of what's going to be in that stall.
Yeah, like, oh, okay. But that's not, this is America.
Look, but this applies to today's episode, okay? Because we're here to solve America's problems.
Yes, we are.
One toilet at a time.
One toilet. Low flow should be abolished.
Yes. And those stupid laser signal flushing.
Oh, yeah. Okay, wait. No.
Just wrong.
Enough.
All right. On to new problems.
On to new problems. This is what we're here to talk about. And so anybody who's just tuning in, this is not going to be part 2.
Or is it?
Or is it? It could be. We don't know. But
it's already begun.
What we noticed, we did two episodes that in and around Independence Days, right? So Juneteenth is the day the last enslaved person realized that they were emancipated, were told that they were free. And July 4th is the day we arbitrarily decided to make as the mark. It's when they ratified, right? The Declaration of Independence, whatever day that was.
Why are you putting me on the spot like that? Just looking at me with all this expectation, like I actually remember that. It was on a day. We would
so
probably
fail citizenship tests.
Listen. I'm a citizen, and I feel like it's my right as a citizen to not know what it means to be a citizen.
I think that is our right.
Okay.
So we did these two, and on Juneteenth we go, and motherfuckers, we were on a boat on Juneteenth, like partying it up, rock star style. It was amazing. We were dressed. You were wearing a knit polo.
It was a weird day.
It was nice.
I got my fancy on.
Yeah, we had our proper fancy on, and we were in like Miami Beach, and right on the beach. It was so nice. And then on July 4th, we sent bottle rockets in the air. Like, we gathered. So we are the epitome of a King of the Hill neighborhood. So me and my neighbors, I guess they all went in on some fireworks. And we had never done this growing up. I'd never been to somebody's house where they were letting off more than just like sparklers. So they went and got the serious fireworks, like the ones that shoot up in the air and fucking explode. And so my husband goes, he went with my son, bought all these fireworks. We're all sitting on these lounge chairs in our driveway. We commandeered an entire street corner in our
Mhm.
neighborhood. So, cause it's the people across the street from us, the people to the left and right of us. We owned this whole stop sign area.
Mm-hmm.
Poor drivers couldn't get to their houses. They had to go around.
Funny.
And we were trying to be nice. We made space. We made sure that people could get home, but we lit huge ass fireworks and nothing felt more American than that. Like it just felt awesome. And so I worked all day, which, someone's like, isn't that against freedom? Like, isn't that against July 4th?
I believe it is.
And I'm like, but it was so peaceful because everybody's off. Nobody's bothered. No emails. It was great.
I feel that.
It was awesome. I got so much done. And they're like, and I also felt like peacefulness is probably also against America. I was so at peace with myself. And so I came out and they like the party's getting going. It's getting dark. We're going to light these fireworks. And my neighbors came into my house and was like, you have to come. And so I go and I get changed. And of course I'm a mess. And I look in the mirror, like I'm going to just go out in the clothes I have on. And it looked like I was lactating. I don't know what's happening. Like, like, I don't know what's going on. So I had to change. And everybody's like, what? You're not happy. You seem stressed out. I'm like, I don't know, man. Things are just leaking. I don't know. This is just my life now. And literally, that's how I approach it. This is just my life now.
It makes sense.
So we blow everything up and it felt like, and everybody's wearing their red, white, and blue, and we're a very multicultural kind of corner, right? Like it's me, I'm Indian. Across the street is Puerto Rican, Dominican, like everybody's kind of from somewhere. And we just enjoyed the experience. And we spent a lot of time talking about like, this feels uniquely American to just blow shit up. Like it feels, and not only is this like, I don't know if this happens anywhere else in the world. I don't think it does, but it does feel like when you do it for the first time and you like really see this thing explode and all of the birds are just falling out of the sky and like all the dogs are just so sad. Like I gave Bruno a trazodone because he was stressed out.
Of course.
But like the fact that we do this without any regard for physical safety, animal safety, nothing. It felt good to be an American. Like I really enjoyed it. And so we were kind of playing around, me and my brother, going, it's unique, this experience of America, this experience of being American. Because both you and I, we were born here in the States.
Yeah.
Like we don't know how to be culturally Indian, even more so than our fellow Indian heritage brothers and sisters. Not actual brothers.
Yeah.
But like
people,
even our cousins,
our
if we're gonna do a barometer of who's more Indian and less Indian, we are like the least Indian people.
Almost none.
The only thing that's proper Indian about me, let me list it out. It's almost like a cliche, right?
You've got a list. All right.
I have a list. This is where my Indian heritage comes out. 1, Tiger Mom. Nothing less than an A is acceptable. Don't bother coming home.
Makes
2.
sense. Okay. Fair.
2. I do love me a dosa. Like I do love me an idli sambar. Like that's food, right? Like that's, if it doesn't have turmeric in it, like, is it food?
It's not. It
and
really
if it's
isn't.
not hot, is it food?
No, that's just messed up.
That is. If it's not
just
spicy, it's not food.
That's just torture.
Right. I do love Indian jewelry. I like to be sparkly and spangly. So that's one. That's another one. That's it. That's all I got, y'all. Like, I don't have anything more other than the fact that I freaking look
Yeah, pretty much.
like an Indian person. Like I walk out the street and they're like, "Where are you from?" "I'm from the Bronx." They're like, "No, where are you really from?" "I'm from Fort Lauderdale." Like,
Exactly. What are you asking?
what are you asking me? And what they really mean is your heritage. Why is your nose hooked down like
Your
that?
ancestry.
Why do you have so much hair on your face? Like that's what they're asking me. I don't understand why you look like that. Why are you kind of this grayish brown color? And I want to say that's because I'm Indian, but that's really because I don't go in the sun. Like I go out of my house and then back into my house. I go out of my house and into the car.
Yeah.
And then I leave my car and go into another establishment. The sun's physical rays hit me for about 20 seconds a day, which is why I recently described how I look as melted soft serve ice cream. Hear me out. Hear me out.
Okay, I'm listening.
So, like, chocolate ice cream isn't like brown.
Sure.
It's more like a brown gray.
Sure.
Right? Like if you have a chocolate soft serve ice cream, it's more of a gray tone to it.
Sure.
And so I'm like, that's kind of me. I got that olive undertone. I got that grayness from the lack of vitamin D. Like I'm anemic. Like there's a reason I look a little sickly. That makes sense.
That might just be because you don't drink water.
Well, I'm chronically dehydrated. That we should all know. But I also saw, and you guys will all know, that I recently changed the title card on the show.
Ooh.
You haven't seen it. Son of a Beelzebub. I have not shown you the new comic card. Okay, so another thing that had happened.
I don't listen to the show.
So when did I do this? Remember when you were driving me back because my back was all messed up? This is after the boat. Remember when you were driving me back? And I was like working.
Like, the quotes make me a little upset, but that's okay.
I was very productive that day. That was the day I sent my bio out. I sent, I did a bunch of things for the podcast that day. I was very productive.
You made it seem like you were doing such important work. You were so concerned about the laptop and the battery and oh no, my life is over if it doesn't work.
Okay, I did answer several emails. Excuse me.
Sure.
But it was a long drive. And we didn't have the music on. And I don't know why that happened. We didn't turn on the music
I blame you
at
for that.
all. And I like to get crunk in the car. It is very high volume and very much full of bass. I like to really get into it. But we had no music. So yes, it was working. And so I went on AI. And I was like, I'm going to commit myself to the podcast and really, really, really invest my time and effort into this. I want to do this well. All evidence to the contrary, given how much we've done, how poorly we've done on the last few episodes. So I get into this AI thing because the original title card had a cartoonized version of me, which is like an old headshot from 10 years ago. Probably not 10 years ago, but long enough that I don't look that good anymore. Keep in mind, I didn't think I looked good. So I look even saggy. This is where the melted soft serve ice cream comes from. So
interesting.
So the photo to me looks like a grayed out kind of version of me. And I'm wearing this pink dress and I look like Neapolitan. You remember Neapolitan ice cream.
Oh, I do.
So I'm looking at it. I can't stand the sight of my face. Cannot stand it. And I'm like, this has to change. I want something different. And I don't know if I sent it to you, but I started playing with this AI thing, and I said, okay, hello AI, make an Indian lady in her 40s.
Oh my gosh.
So I tried to age my photo up. And it was so unkind.
Oh no.
It was so bad. What it thought I looked like from that photo. And I'm like, it thinks I look like melted soft serve ice cream. Like, that's what it thinks. Like, it just sagged my face all the way down. It looked so freaking haggard. Like it just looked like drapes. Like, I was a basset hound. It was amazing.
This is definitely what people in their 40s look like.
Yeah. So then I'm like, okay, I went to another AI because obviously that one was not my friend. And so I didn't send it the photo of me. And I said, create me an Indian lady ninja situation styled a la Kill Bill, right? So in Kill Bill, in the poster, Uma Thurman, the bride, is holding a katana at her side. She's wearing this black and yellow jumpsuit, or yellow jumpsuit, I think.
Yeah,
I don't even think it's black. She's wearing a yellow jumpsuit holding this thing. I'm like, put my head on Uma Thurman's body, right? Like, keep all of that, my face, or any reasonable Indian lady's face. So I went through a lot of Indian ladies' faces.
Okay. All right.
We had to play because I had to play with the skin tone. I was like, make it darker, make it lighter, give me more nose. Oh shit, that's way too much nose. Then there was a lot of mouth situation happening.
Oh,
I had a very large mouth. And like less mouth, more smiley, but then not clown-like. Like she was really excited for a little bit. Like she was super thrilled. So then I'm getting this and I'm like, I want a silhouette, me, this height, hourglass figure, I'm like configuring it. And the paragraph that I ended up sending AI of what I wanted this girl to look like was like, an inch or two long. Like it was really descriptive. And I wanted her holding a katana at her side. For some reason, AI doesn't understand spatial awareness. Like it doesn't understand that there's a handle and she should be holding it by the handle and not the blade. That the katana shouldn't just generate in the middle of her thigh, that she shouldn't have two of them, that she shouldn't have a random leg sticking out the side of her. Like it was
I think that's important though.
We struggled. Me and AI, we struggled to hear each other and understand each other. So I'm trying to configure it just so. And so I finally got to a place where it was giving me a humanoid looking lady that looked Indian. And I'm like, okay, let me find someone that kind of looks Indian-esque like I do. Because I know I'm obviously Indian when I walk out the street. So I wanted somebody that looked reasonably Indian. And so I found one. Her face looks generic. It's not my face. I don't look like that. But I wanted that lady. And then, but she had a necklace on. She had this gold necklace on. And she's wearing a black jumpsuit. She's holding a sword. I was like, done. That's it. That's my bitch. I'm like, this is my new title card. So I send it over to Josh. I'm like, hey, can you put this lady on my title card?
Oh my God.
And he laughs. He's like, yeah, I can do that. I'm like, take my face off. We want to be this lady. I don't know who she is, but I like her.
Oh my gosh.
So you got to go to the website and actually look up the new card. And
wow.
I feel like now I need to get an AI version of you and you have be like a little circle bubble like with your face. You're like, I's here too. Like I need to inject more of you into this. This is very vain. It's very self-serving. But anyway, I'm Indian in name only. I don't know. I've been there twice. I don't know. So
now you've got some random Indian lady's face.
I do. And that's how everyone will see me. And when they meet me, they're going to go like, this tracks. I feel like everyone will get it.
I think so. It should
like,
work.
It should. It's like And I'm like, make it an anime. I said, do it in the manga style. I really did.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay. All right.
I really wanted it.
You went, okay.
I did. So anyway, we're talking about America. Anyway, I'm American. So we were born here, and I did this because I am Indian. There's lots of me that's Indian. I'm a collectivist by nature, right? Like I believe in helping others. I believe in community. There's a lot of things that make me more Indian-esque. But at the end of the day, I'm culturally American. Mm-hmm. This is the country I know. This is the country I was born in. This is the country I had to pledge allegiance to for 18 years. And still have to, and still put my hand over my heart. And when the national anthem comes on for every freaking event that you leave your house for. So, and I do it without any kind of disgust in my heart, because as we said in previous shows, every single country has its version of suckage. Mm-hmm. Like, there is no country that has not fucked over an indigenous population. There is no, so much blood has been spilled to draw these geographic lines that we rely so heavily on. Like, no country can claim that they are beyond reproach.
Nope.
None. So I might as well like this one. This is where I live. It's expensive to move. I like it here. It's hot.
Oh my gosh.
It do be hot.
And the humidity.
But I'm not moving. So now if I say this is my country, I love my country. I took calculus for my country.
Interesting connection. Okay.
It's a Ronnie Chang joke because he goes, so many people I would die for my country. I would kill for my country. Right? I would do all of this amazing heroic stuff for my country. And he's like, can you guys just take math for your country? Can you just do homework for your country?
It's true.
If we just, studied a little bit for our country.
No, that's a bridge too far.
It is a bridge too far. But I fundamentally believe that I live here. I love it here. I love my family. I love my friends. I love my job. I love my dogs. I love the life that I've been able to build here. Could I build a similar life in another place? Probably. Mm-hmm. But I'm here and I'm going to make the most of it. And I think it's my responsibility to make America as amazing as it possibly can be. And that means even criticizing it. Is it shameful? And we were talking about this, is what it means to be America and what it means to be American. Because, with all of this independence and relinquishment from tyranny or oppression or whatever it is, what does that mean? Are we America? Are we American? And, we kind of go back to, is America an experiment? Is America destined to exist in all of that? And we look at the Constitution, and unlike other nations that have formed before and after us, we're on the same Constitution that we've had since the beginning. We've amended it, but the fundamental principles of this Constitution have not changed.
Yeah.
Which I think all other European nations are on several different versions of their constitutions. They've amended it. They've come together. They've changed theirs. Their governments are constantly in flux and snap elections and this and that and that. We don't have that. We have a relatively stable framework for a government and have had. And it is a luxury. It is not something that most countries can claim that they have. We have this. And so the central tenet of it was that all men are created equal. Okay, take me out of it. I got my lady bits, so I'm out. But if we even go with all men are created equal, the central premise of that statement, all men are created equal, was that whether you were born into a rich family or a poor family
Mhm.
or a British family or French family or whatever. And they were really talking about white Europeans, right? Like they
Yeah,
were talking
of course.
about which
Uh-huh.
fiefdom in Europe you came from,
Mhm.
that you were created equal. And you all had certain inalienable rights. This was the floor of rights
Mhm.
that we have. This is the floor of the abilities you should have as an American. And there's a reason why they framed it that way. But one thing I think gets missed, and especially in school today, and we think of the founding of America and the founding fathers as being white men, right?
Sure.
White, more well-to-do men, right?
Mhm.
Educated men. And that's not a lie, but we forget that when the first settlers from Europe arrived here, not only did they bring slaves with them, like that, maybe not that first group, but very soon after, slaves were coming in, but that natives were already here. That at no point in the first 75 years of America was white ownership and white control the truth. Most of it was owned and operated by natives.
Mhm.
Like they fought to keep their land. They were already here. So immediately upon landing, you definitely had brown and white, even if you leave slaves out of it. You definitely have the first stepping a foot on the U.S. soil as a mix of colors and cultures.
Right.
It never was ever on this land a purely white nation. At some point, it was purely a native nation prior to the Norse, incursions here, right? Like Leif Erikson and all of that.
I mean, there were a bunch of different tribes, but yeah.
Yes, but it was an indigenous
Mhm.
population, right? Like at its inception, there was an indigenous population that
Mhm.
owned and controlled this land.
Mhm.
It was theirs. So when the founding of America, when these documents were signed, there were blacks, there were Asians, there were Latins, there were indigenous, all living and breathing on this soil and in the land under jurisdiction of the American territories, right?
Yep.
Right? So at its founding, it was always multicultural.
Mhm.
You can't live in fucking Massapequa and call this a British land. Massapequa is not English. Like California is not English, right? Like we
Mhm.
think San Antonio is not English.
That sounds pretty English to me.
Like Minnesota is not English, right? We have been multicultural from inception.
Mhm.
From inception. That's just the truth of it. You can't deny your way out of it. There was also a reason that we separated church and state. There was a
Mhm.
reason we didn't say this nation founded as an Episcopal nation.
Yep.
Like
Mhm.
there was a reason, and it had they didn't care about native religions, right? Like they
No,
didn't
of
care
course
about
not.
any of
Of course
that. But or tribal religions, what they were caring about is infighting amongst European sects, the Lutheran, the Baptist, the whoever, the Presbyterian, that Puritan ideal of religion, because England the king was the head of the church. And so if it is
Mhm.
the head of the church. And so when you have the state founded on the fundamentals of religion, you have a man, a singular man, who is the arbiter of what is good and bad in religion. And I think we all know how well that turned out.
Mhm. Mhm.
That the spread of doing bullshit in the name of God and all of that stuff is bad for a nation state.
Mhm.
It's just, I mean, you can steal a lot of stuff.
Well, that's
there-
always nice.
You can steal a lot of stuff. And there is some really nice stuff that got stolen.
Yeah.
And there are people wearing it on their heads today.
I mean, I like to have stuff.
We do.
It doesn't really matter where it comes from.
Yes, but it does involve a lot of murdering.
I mean, that makes it a little bit harder to swallow, but man, I really like stuff.
Yeah. So we kind of separated out the religion part, going, okay, you can practice whatever religion you want, and the government can't do dick about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you want to go to church and practice your religion, and the government can't force this upon you or punish you for it. And that is a good idea. Mm-hmm. You do not want high school teachers. You don't want high school Spanish teachers being the arbiters of religion.
Mm-hmm.
They're not theologists. They can't answer these questions. You would want your pastor, your priest, your rabbi, your temple leader, and I'm being very racist because I can't remember in Islam who's the head of the church or who does the teaching in Islam. But like those who
I forget too.
You are blanking hard too. But those are the people who dedicate their lives to the practice of their religion, who study it, who care about the teaching, who should be educating our children on following a faithful life.
Mm-hmm. I
shouldn't be learning about that while I'm also learning how to conjugate verbs. Like,
but those things seem to go really well together.
You can learn about religion in school, but from a secular point of view, from a historical point of view. But
Mm-hmm.
the meaning of life shouldn't happen while we're talking about whether, what a chrysalis is. Like, this and this should be two separate conversations with the experts in those answers.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So we are not a Christian nation. Yes, they say God, but there are at least 3 religions that all worship the same one.
Mm-hmm.
And we can say, oh, they were believers in Christ, but I would argue they were agnostic at best, the founding fathers.
A lot of them, yeah.
So
sure.
They were not big, right-wing Christian people. They wanted you to be Christian. They wanted you to have a faithful life. They didn't want to eliminate churches, but they thought churches is church. Faith is faith. Go do that. Go have faith.
Mm-hmm.
And our government shouldn't be butting our nose into it. And nor should the faith be butting its nose in government, because we have to kind of maintain this ability to exist as a mixed race and religion people. Because even at that point, even in the 1770s, there were free blacks, even at that
Mm-hmm.
time. Not everyone was a slave. There were other races of people here. One thing we forget all the time is when the earliest settlers lived and they met the indigenous, they spoke English. Like, people had already encountered them. There were scout missions. And one had already been to Europe. So this idea that this has not been a multicultural nation, that's just not true either. And so I kind of get weirded out in this new discourse of we need to return to the original foundation of what America was intended to be, which is, yes, it didn't include blacks and it didn't include women at its founding, but we all agreed in the last 100 years, at least, last 50, it's not even all that far away, but let's say 100 years. In the last 100 years, we decided to amend our Constitution to say people have rights here. Men, women, black, Asian, Latin, doesn't matter the heritage or descent of who you are. There is a reason it was written that all persons born on U.S. soil were citizens thereof. And that, they say, it was meant to include children of slaves, but it was also meant to include the indigenous. It was meant to include those who exist here. When you're born here, you have the right to be here. And there's a lot of reasons to do this. They did debate this idea of, well, And that's why they have those exceptions for foreign dignitaries. Can a foreign person, a foreign king, have a baby here? They did make diplomatic adjustments to that. That is the result of that debate. But they never isolated and said, okay, all persons born to U.S. citizens are citizens. There's a reason. Again, blacks weren't considered citizens at that point. Indigenous were not considered citizens at that point. Even if they exist on their own land, right? Like if we say they have autonomy, the indigenous native populations have autonomy over their reservations. They are the nation, the Cherokee Nation. They are their own statehood with their own government. But because they fall under the jurisdiction of American territory, they are also citizens of America. And we made a deal. Okay, we won't go onto your reservation, but you're still have all the rights of Social Security and Medicare and everything else.
But does that statement, all people are created equal, does that only apply to citizens?
And so that's my answer to that, is that it doesn't say all citizens are equal.
It doesn't say all American men, and then it doesn't say all American people. It was talking about people, just people in general are created equal.
Yeah, I think that we're losing.
And should have basic rights.
It's human rights, right? We kind of are losing sight of the fact that people are people. And I'll give you an example. When we talk today about rights of immigrants, and we're not even talking about the undocumented, right? Immigrants in general, that there's this now new belief system that immigrants in general have less human rights than citizens, and not even natural born, because they're thinking about taking away naturalization, that we can take it back. Like when you decide, when you're an American citizen, that right could be, that status could be taken away from you, you're creating a whole bunch of stateless people, right? Like if you were born on U.S. soil, what state do you belong to? Like you're not Mexican. Like you can't go and just cross the border and say, okay, I guess once you lose your statehood, once you create stateless people, you can't leave. You can't stay and you can't leave. You're stateless. You belong to no one. And that is a problem. We don't need this. And so our new thought process on the undocumented was we were always supposed to find a pathway to legal residence. Maybe not even citizenship, but we were even questioning if that was right, because you're creating a whole second class of people. But if you were to say, okay, how do we create legal status so they can live and work amongst us without fear, right? The danger is that everybody's going to flood over the border and it's going to be 1 million people. And while I believe all people are people, we're talking about a lot of people as if it's just a group and it doesn't have feelings. It is hard for a government or a nation or municipality to absorb that many people at once.
Well, sure. That's why there are rules in place on how many people can become citizens at one time and, things like that. But they aren't rules based on race, or shouldn't be anyway. And I mean, the logistics of that process are real, and the ability for a community to handle that, fine. That we can agree on. But to just say nobody, none, it's a difficult thing to be trying to argue.
Yeah, and especially when the vast majority of undocumented are upstanding members of our society, do kindnesses in their communities all over the place, that are intelligent, well-meaning people who lift up their communities. The vast majority of them, again, this is just the truth of it. That is immigrants. When you're that hungry for success, a lot of times, when you're that desperate to risk life and limb to flee poverty and persecution and death by cartel, you generally go to a place and try not to fuck it up. Like you're trying not to get sent back, so you're usually pretty good.
Usually.
Not that by the way, there are a lot of cunts and douchebags in every freaking group of people. Like, so it's not like I'm saying undocumented people are better than regular people, but they're less incentivized to risk their status by committing criminal acts than someone who knows they can commit a criminal act and still remain in the country and pay a civil fine or something else. That's not a luxury a lot of undocumented have, especially now. And so when I think about what it means to be American, it was always a mix. It was always, you're American because you're American. And because other than the indigenous, none of us have a natural born claim to this soil. None of us. Everybody who is a child of an Ellis Island immigrant, like this thing that Vance said, oh, we'll go back to the Civil War and figure out heritage. And these will be the real Americans. These are actually citizens and citizens by heritage. They've been here. They're American. They're the true American. And he's fucking married to a woman named Usha, whose heritage is Indian. Like,
it makes no sense.
Like, I don't know how far back her family goes, but I don't necessarily think that her ancestry goes back to Civil War. And again, what side? What side are we fighting on in the Civil War? Like, there was definitely a right and a wrong side in that war, right? So if we're going back to heritage and you go, well, I'm fighting for the rights of slave owning plantations.
Well, but it's not, for me, the Civil War has always been a hot button topic for me. Cause you left the Union.
Yes.
You didn't want to be American.
You didn't want to be American.
You literally were no longer American if you fought for that side. And so then when people say, okay, I love America and I love the Confederacy, what? You can't do that.
Yeah, we just wanted an America where we could do what we want. And so I look at today and I think there is a reason why we are the United States of America. We tried the whole, Confederacy thing. We tried to have little nation states, little fiefdoms, right? Where they all had their own armies and their own tax code and their own this and that, this collection of territories. And we realized, well, that's fucking inefficient. And by the way, it's fucking inefficient for racist reasons. Like, let's be real. Like, we became the United States of America because we needed a community army so we could get rid of so we could put down Native American rebellions and slave rebellions, because one single state couldn't mount enough of a defense. So we decided to pool our resources to have enough of an army to protect the assets we stole from the indigenous. Let's just be real.
Okay. So there were a lot of, racial undertones to the founding of the nation. Fine. But that wasn't the intrinsic message or point of the Constitution, or what it was that they were even fighting for. It's, separation from England had nothing to do with race. They weren't worried about that.
No, separation from England was entirely about the ability of a people to have a say in their government. That's what it was about. And also they didn't want to keep sending money to Europe because Europe couldn't stop its infighting. And so you're collecting taxes from the Americas. And keep in mind, the Americas, because of the slave trade and because of other things, people were getting pretty wealthy in that space. That Atlantic Ocean of space between the countries allowed America a certain amount of autonomy from England, as opposed to the English that live in England. So, and that want to fight these wars on ideological grounds. Keep in, like, a lot of these people in the 1770s were here and their parents were here. Like, now they're American. They're culturally not the same. Their experience of living in America, it would not be anywhere close to the experience of living in Europe. Yeah. And a lot of them did travel, especially in the government. They did travel to Europe, and they would spend a year at a time or 2 years at a time, and they were different than their European counterparts. And so, yes, we wanted to stay in our government, and now we had amassed a certain amount of wealth from exploiting the resources of this land. And we're like, why are we giving it to them? They're not giving anything to us. We're in no danger from the European wars because they're not coming here. So why do we have to pay for it? That makes a ton of sense. So we go, okay, we don't want to be part of England anymore, and we want to be our own nation. And we fought a war over it for that independence, and we celebrated that on July 4th.
But that was only one of the reasons. England was treating the people in the Americas horribly for years. Like, when you go through the Bill of Rights, those 10 were all created based off of things that England was violating.
Yeah, was doing to the Americas. Yes.
The freedom of speech was because they didn't have the right to say anything.
No, you could be punished by the government for criticizing the king.
Yeah.
And that should not be a thing. Mm-hmm. We agree that should not be a thing. The freedom of the press, freedom of practice of religion. And so, and again, the king is the head of the Church of England. You were expected to follow the king. You were expected to follow that church and those teachings. And so many people had already come to the United States or to the Americas to be able to practice however they wanted to practice their faith.
Even the ones with, like, soldiers can't just barge into your house and live there now, because British soldiers would just live there now.
Yes, they can be quartered in your house
and say, feed me or else.
Right.
And, the amount of injustices brought about through a king, which is just a different form of dictatorship.
Right.
It's
almost worse.
Yeah, because it's sort of divine dictatorship, which is another reason why separation of church and state is there's a danger to saying, I am God appointed as your leader.
Right.
That, were you?
Yeah. There was a lot of inbreeding amongst the royal families. So I don't know how much God played a role in that. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know that there's this divine right to control people.
But this was a popular concept, like pharaohs and, whatever, being gods themselves. And like this, yeah, you should not be able to say, oh, God chose me to be your leader. It does not work well.
I agree with that. And it doesn't do good for the psyche of that person.
No.
Like, they don't handle that amount of divine blessing well.
It never is like, God chose me to be your leader, so I'm going to, love you and be super nice, and I'm going to, like, give you all of my money. It's God chose me, so I'm going to murder you now. That sounds great.
Yeah, they do like to do a lot of murdering. I think I don't know what it is about that. They just find it so fun.
It's strange.
So now we're here. There's a whole bunch that wanted to secede from the Union during the Civil War. You didn't want to be American anymore. And I think there's a whole push now where we look at the United States of America. And I feel like there's been this push for a long time to end unions. We've heard about this for 20, 30 years. We got to get rid of unions. We got to get rid of unions. Well, the greatest and strongest union in the entire world is the United States of America. If you don't understand, it is a union. Our taxes are our dues. Those dues are meant to go to elected leaders. Those leaders are supposed to negotiate on our behalf for improvement of our standard and quality of living. That is the point of a government. That is the point of a union. We express our unity through our government, the ones that allow us to elect our representatives in leadership. And so you think about what do governments do? Governments are supposed to protect us, but the number one thing is it's a pool of collective resources for the betterment of everyone under its jurisdiction. We go, okay, we're all going to pool our money because collectively this amount of funds is more than any one state or any one place can amass at a time. We take that and we allocate it to various services and goods that are to the benefit of all of us. Period. End of story. So we do fund a military because that military is there to protect all of us. That military is not California's military or Texas's military or Louisiana's military. It's not any one state's military. It is a collective military designed to protect the interest of everybody under the jurisdiction of America, regardless of whether you're documented or not. We protect the people within our borders. By the way, the same thing goes for law enforcement. The mantra of law enforcement is protect and serve. It is not arrest and punish. You are your responsibility because it is as a officer of the law or a law enforcement person, or that's your job. You should not be going out and being the arbiter of whether this person is guilty and how much they should be punished for their crime. Like, it's not for you to decide. So your job is to protect them, even an assailant, even someone who commits murder. And you get them out of a situation so they're no longer a threat to themselves or others. You take them there, and now they have to answer for their crime in front of a jury of their peers. They're supposed to be fucking alive for this.
Well, sure. But then there's always the issues of whether the legal system is properly working.
And and we know it's not.
Diddy.
Diddy. And Epstein. By the way, so let's drop some truths. Epstein didn't kill himself. There definitely was a client list. Biden didn't burn it. I totally believe that this administration got its hands on it, probably saw tapes and shit, and realized how many powerful people were in these documents and went, "The fuck if we're gonna release this? Oh, oopsie, it got lost. Oopsie. I guess Biden burned it." And Pam Bondi, when she came out, said, "I've been looking at this shit. It's all on my desk. I see all of it." That bitch was either lying, and she wasn't lying. Well, she was. That shit wasn't on her desk. But
well, sure.
But
not metaphorically on her desk. Yeah.
But she absolutely saw some shit. They absolutely have paid off the FBI and the CIA and Pam Bondi and whoever's in the Department of Justice to hide whatever the fuck is in those tapes or in those documents, because we are never going to see it. And I think it's kind of funny that was like kind of a really good conspiracy theory that they could have just released. And I think everybody was hoping the Clintons would be in there, right? Like some of these Democratic stalwarts, these, a bunch of entertainment people would be in there. And we'd all go do our collective pearl clutching and blushing, going, "Oh my God, the billionaires. They've been touching the women." like, ooh.
Well, but I thought we already knew that.
Yeah, all the billionaires have been touching the women.
Yeah, well, that's not news.
No, that's not news. So, and Epstein was smart and not smart. One, that he had all this evidence and collected it. That's literally why he was off. He was super killed in prison. There's no way he killed himself. If Harvey Weinstein hadn't killed himself in prison, Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself in prison. And Diddy did it. He been did in it.
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
he been done did it. We all know that. And the fact that they couldn't convict him of the RICO charges, you know why they couldn't convict him? Because I watched that pretty closely, and it is so disgusting what happened to those women, what happened to those sex workers. Like, we think just about the women, what happened to the people in the parties, what was done to all these people. But the reason why they couldn't get a RICO charge is because there wasn't enough evidence of a mafia style level of corruption. They couldn't prove enough bribes went to enough other powerful people, that enough people were conspiring, right? Like, that it wasn't just Diddy paying off his assistants to clean up the baby oil in these hotel rooms. In order to prove the RICO charge, you have to say he had a system of lieutenants that recruited women, that in cities all around the country, whether he was present or not, were being sex trafficked. It was just, if you were an unfortunate soul, so unfortunate to have come across P. Diddy and become the apple of his eye, if that was just your unfortunate circumstance, he fucked you over so hard. Like, yes, you were sex trafficked for his own pleasure, right? He didn't sell you to other people. He bought other people and watched. Like, it was gross, but he didn't send you to Bezos. Like,
no.
So that was why that was so hard to prove. Is it criminal? Should he be imprisoned for the rest of his life for what he has done to these women and to these people and his assistants and whoever helped him, whoever hid all this shit, the abuse he put on all these people? Absolutely. But that's why he couldn't get convicted on the RICO charge. But he fucking did that shit. He's gross. Like, and the whole industry has known he was gross.
The whole time.
The whole time, like, everybody wants to, like, if you're rich, you can do gross things. Like, that's welcome to America. By the way, and I think that's true anywhere. Like, when you're rich, you can do gross things. Like, all the stuff, this family values and, 10 commandments in schools, all these people are gross. I mean, fucking Ken Paxton in Texas is getting divorced on biblical reasons, which I find amazing. But this is America. I just don't believe, and we've been talking a lot about this, like, am I American? Am I American? I've lived here. My accent is purely American. I have a very Apu-like Indian accent when I try to mimic it. Like, I don't have a good Indian accent. I went to school here. I'm a product of public school. I work and breathe in the United States. I vote in the United States. I have no interest of going elsewhere. So am I American? And I think by a lot of people's standards, the answer is no, you're not American. And I would argue that for everybody who's wanting so badly to define who's American and who's not American, who gets rights and who doesn't, understand that if you don't have enough money right now that you could stop working for the rest of your life, you're a broke motherfucker. You broke. I'm sorry, you poor. If I don't care if you're an athlete or an actor or a hedge fund manager, if you can't afford right now to stop working and never work a day in your life, you're broke. And understand that whatever you're wishing to take away from whoever it is that bothers you, understand you're next. Like, they're not going to take away healthcare from the undocumented and give it to you. They're like, I always ask, like, what is America? But what do we want America to be? And anybody who's like really upset with how immigration has happened and that the demographics of America have changed from how they remember it. And I asked them, okay, let's go through the model. every other nation who has ever tried to build a homogenous society, every other nation that has tried, look at the outcomes of those nations. Look at what xenophobia, look at what, genocide, look at what oppression and tyranny do when you try to create a homogenous society. Whether it's brown, whether it's black, whether it's white, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how you try to enforce that homogeneity. When you try to do it, you end up destroying your country.
Because there's no such thing. So right now you start broad. You go race. You go, okay, well, color of your skin. But, okay, you get rid of everybody who's brown. Great. Then you start saying, okay, yeah, but you don't sound the same. You've got an accent. Oh, it's a Boston accent. That's not okay. You're different. Oh, then we start saying religion. Oh, you don't believe the same thing. You don't believe in Jesus the same as me. Going back to the whole Protestant, Lutheran, Catholic issue.
Yes.
Right? The divisions just keep coming. Then you'll go, okay, well, now you're not of the same state government. Your state's stupid.
Which we already do.
Right. And
I'm Floridian. Fuck you, Georgia.
Georgia sucks.
I have family in Georgia, so I take that back. I like my family in Georgia. Fuck you, Georgia.
Disclaimer. Doesn't really hate Georgia, but screw you, Georgia.
That's right. Fuck your peaches. We're Floridian.
We don't want to drive through you. We drive around you.
No, we don't. How do we?
Gotta go all the way to the Panhandle and go up Alabama.
No, we do just the tip. We just go, we go across this thing just like that. We don't know our geography.
Look, geography is not our specialty, nor is history, nor is citizenship, nor is any. Really, what is our specialty?
Bathrooms.
Bathrooms, that's right.
Brought to you, by the way, brought to you by Arby's.
That's right.
They do
Arby's.
have the meats.
We're still waiting.
I have not gotten an email.
Excuse you.
But I was like, when you start creating dividing lines, you have to keep creating dividing lines. Like, I always wonder, even because, by the way, this is not a MAGA thing or a progressive thing, because we can see it even amongst progressives.
Oh,
I think that's what's the reason why so many young people are kind of disillusioned is the establishment Democrat is also racist. Mm-hmm. The establishment Democrat is also a fucking pervert. The establishment Democrat, they say they mean the right things. They say they want to do the right things for indigenous populations or black populations. But at the end of the day, they're protecting the same power structures they always have. So it's hard to be a progressive or a liberal or whatever on the left you want to be, this belief in like this kumbaya life, when you know that you're getting paid lip service. It's like the billionaire that goes to the charity auction. He gives two shits. Mm-hmm. He couldn't give two shits.
Yeah.
The amount of money, relative money they give to charity is nothing, but they do it to be performative. They do it to say, oh, we're not bad people. Look at us. We donated $800 to new pipe fittings. We're waiting for all of these guys to die before they release the money. This is right. This is not, it's performative. And I think that's what a lot of people on the left, it's so hard to vote for a Democrat because it's so hard to believe that they'll actually fight and do the right things for their constituents.
But I know that one of the great prides of being an American is being bad at math. So I want to be able to break that number down.
Oh, let's do it.
Because 800, still seems like a lot of money. But you're saying this concept of relative to their wealth. So if you have $1 billion and then well, you do easy numbers. You give $1,000. Okay. Well, that means if you have $1 million, you're given $1. If you have $100,000, which now we're talking more our speed, you're gonna give somebody a dime.
Right.
At that point, giving a dime, don't bother. Don't give the dime. What is the value?
Right.
We know, oh, you made 100,000 last year and you donated a dime to somebody. You're going to report that on your taxes. Like, what are we talking about?
And so I ask everybody, like, at the end, when let's say America becomes a white Christian nation. By the way, that is Sharia law. It is religious law.
Yeah.
It is law by
It's the
religion.
Middle East.
If you're asking for that, you want to be a white Christian nation and you believe you are entitled to it, I would like for you to look around at all other religion-based nations and tell me you like it, because that's what you're going to get.
But then you're inevitably going to get to the question, which version of white, which version of Christian?
Yes.
It's
Because Catholics don't count, right? Like,
yeah, because screw them.
Yeah. I mean, really, though.
I mean, they've done a lot of horrible things, but still, there are plenty of Catholics out there who would say, we believe in Jesus. What are you saying? And we'll say, you do it the wrong way.
I mean, they all, let's be real. They all do it the wrong way. Like, I don't know. I don't know that any Christian group can claim. I think I would assume Presbyterian is going to come. We should do a bracket.
Ooh,
It should be
battle royale here.
It should be a battle royale. We have to first decide which whites and which Christians are going to set up the laws.
That's right. And there are a lot of whites, by the way. Lot of different types.
Like, are we doing Irish Catholics?
Ooh.
Or are we doing Spanish Catholics? Are we
That's
doing,
different. Yeah.
are we doing Southern Baptist? Are we doing evangelical?
Would you consider people from Spain to be white?
Yeah.
Because they speak the same language as those other people.
With a lisp.
So, there's some questions there.
España.
Exactly.
But I need to know who. We should let that happen first. I think we're skipping a whole bunch of steps. Because they're like, okay, let's get rid of all of the browns and the blacks and the yellows and the reds, and let's make this a white Christian nation. And then we will decide amongst us white Christians, who is the most white and who is the most Christian. And then that group gets to pick how the government goes. Like, I think you're right in that there will never be an end to the divisions. And I always ask somebody who lived, because there's a lot of little towns where you have some homogeneity, right? Like, you have everybody kind of looks the same. There's parts of America that are predominantly black. There are parts of America that are probably predominantly Latin. There's all sorts of little conclaves. And so when I ask a group of people, and you ask somebody and you say, oh, I'm from this little town, and we didn't see a lot of there, and there's not a lot. It's not like New York City where you see a little bit of everything. And I ask them, do you love every single one of the people you grew up with? Was everyone awesome? And the answer is no, because everybody sucks. Like, you're going to find people, you're always going to find a difference. And so then you go, okay, we'll break it up even further. We'll break it up into, white Christian nation states. And we'll have this weird connective thread between all of us where we'll say we're good. But you end up finding that you diminish your own power this way.
But we haven't even gotten into the economic divisions. And that's a common one throughout a lot of cultures and history. Caste system, all that kind of stuff. You've got the different classes of people. I'm the wealthy, I'm the educated versus the poor and uneducated. There is no end to divisions.
There is no end. You can keep cutting and cutting and cutting until you're a country of one.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have no ability to function because nobody survives as an island. This island of one doesn't survive. And so when we think about how lonely we are as Americans, how depressed we are as Americans, how subservient we are to our jobs as Americans, there's a reason Europeans don't work that much. They take all of August off. It's amazing. Like there's a reason they do all of that because of all of this work they've done to realize that just living and dying by work is just not it. It's just not it. Oh, Bruno. It's raining, so Bruno's shaking and he needs the snuggle he loves.
I've got the Bruno.
So see, he even says, this is terrible for America. I don't want this.
I know. He's like, how could you do this?
Yeah, poor Bruno.
Yeah.
So we kind of get to this place where this isn't the pathway forward. And alligator Alcatraz is also not the pathway forward. And we can't just kumbaya it, right? We can't just walk around and go, we don't have any gripes with anyone, right? We have no reason to be mad at anyone. I think that also is naive. Like this, why can't we all get along? Because some people suck. I suck. Like, I really do.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I'm the villain in I don't know how many stories. That's why I have a katana. I have to protect myself from my enemies now.
That's right.
That's right. I'm American, and that's where the black leather comes from. Because what's more American than a black leather bodysuit? And then I have my katana because I need my sword. It isn't a gun because I have an itchy trigger finger.
Makes sense.
Yeah, we don't want Sheethal Mars with guns. That's not good for anybody. So I have my sword and I'm ready to protect myself from all of these marauders that are climbing over the walls to get me. I'm very excited about it. But I think the conversation we should be having is, as we are Americans and as frustrated as we are, because I think everybody's freaking frustrated. The truth is we're frustrated because we're broke. Yep. And there's a whole bunch of people who are really happy we're broke. And they're just like, you know what? Stay broke. But I will be nice to you sometimes, but stay broke. Like, you're not mad at the right people. If you're like really excited about alligator Alcatraz, you're really mad at the wrong people. By the way, that's a concentration camp. I don't care what anyone says. It's a concentration camp. It is an abomination. It really should not exist. We should not be proud of it.
But if you were to lose your job and within a few months would have to sell your house, you're broke. You're broke.
You're not one leg up. It does. And I think there's this idea where I'm happy being broke so long as you're broker, because that means I still have relative hierarchy over you. And I think what's happening in America, and it is on purpose, the people in power in America are trying to bankrupt it. It's trying to bust up the union, the biggest union in the world. There's a reason it's the wealthiest. There is a reason it's the biggest. And you know how much money is being siphoned off from American coffers to go towards people who don't care about you. And when America is all broken up, it can be sold to the highest bidder. And there's going to be a lot of people with high bids. And this is not theoretical. They want to build company-owned states. So Washington, brought to you by Taco Bell. Like they want to sell off land to businesses to create their own cities with their own governments. This is not conducive to anyone's well-being. Zero people benefit, including those businesses, including those billionaires. They do not benefit from this. This is not a good idea, even from them. All revolutions are preceded by massive amounts of income inequality. One way or another, this power structure is going to collapse because it is so unequal.
Okay, well, let's talk about a couple of things then. So first is the question of, then if it's bad for them, why do they do it? And then the second question is, how unequal is it really? So on the first one, I think of the fact that throughout history, there's always been somebody or some group of people who want to take over the world.
Right.
You've got your Napoleons and so forth, right? Who would just go and march across everybody because they want to.
Imperial needs always
yeah,
happen. Yes.
So that, that's just happening now, but the words have changed. It's now corporate, or, instead of nations, it's changing the companies.
Yes. Yeah. It's creating businesses that own governments, and they have their own cities. So Meta would be its own country. And when you work for Meta and you live in a Meta community, Meta controls everything you do. And by the way, you will not have rights to free speech at Meta. You cannot criticize the CEO. You cannot expect to keep your job. And if you do, you're going to be kicked out of the country in which you live, because the country is Meta. If you think that this is hypothetical, this is not hypothetical. This is what they're trying to create. They want to create that. Why are billionaires buying up so much fucking land? They're trying to create this.
So now,
they're trying to bankrupt America. They're doing it.
I gave a historical context, but again, in the modern day, why would they do it? If it's bad for them, why would they want to?
Well, I'll give you the example. When you're a drug dealer and you're sitting and you are the head of the gang, you're the cartel, you now start drinking your own Kool-Aid and believe you are invincible. You start believing you're better than human, right? Because to amass this amount of control and this amount of wealth and this amount of money, you are beyond touch. You cannot be touched. Think about it. Epstein took the fall. He didn't diddle all of those girls. There's a long list of billionaires and millionaires and gross people that harmed a crap load of young girls and boys. We need to understand that Epstein was Lex Luthor's bodyguard. He was the consigliere. He's not the king, right, of that enterprise. He's a fall guy. And so when we think about this group of ultra rich, and we're unfathomable amount of rich. This is not Tom Cruise rich, right? This is own a country rich.
So this goes into that second question.
So you say, why would they do it? They start to drink their own Kool-Aid, and they start to believe in their own superiority. They start to believe they are akin to their own versions of God, that they can control this. And so when I make the drug cartel, why would you, when you're worth, let's say $100 million as a drug cartel, right? Why keep going? Why not go to Aruba and live your life? You never have to work again. You never have to be in fear of the police. You never have to worry about getting shot. You don't have to worry about a gang war. You don't have to worry about nothing. You're $100 million, $1 billion, however much money, right? Enough you don't have to work and live an awesome life, right? Why do they keep going?
They want it all.
Because they can't stop. The personality type that accumulates that kind of wealth, and then the manners in which they accumulate it, and the manner in which they justify why they have to keep it, is a person who is deeply broken inside. How they can't stop. There is still more to accumulate. It's this weird dick measuring contest of I need to be the superest billionaire. It is the power that is sustaining. It's not the money. Elon Musk does not need money. He could retire right now and go be a philanthropist.
Yeah.
He could. He could go and he could solve at least 2 big universal problems of the world if he so chose. Why doesn't he? Because he needs to stay in the billionaire club.
It would not make him money.
He needs to keep accumulating and accumulating and accumulating. He needs to exercise the power in which he believes he's entitled to as the richest man in the world that we know of.
Okay,
right?
But people say that if you help them, they will give you jobs.
Okay, so you and I talk about this all the time. Let's talk economics. You know this is my bread and butter, and this is what I love. I'm not just peepees and poo-poos. I'm also economics.
A multifaceted and very cultured woman.
Yes, very cultured. Like, I'm sophisticated.
I mean, you can't get wisdom like the last episode. You got to go check it out if you haven't heard those peepee and poo-poos. She knows what she's talking about.
I do know what I'm talking about. I am the world's foremost expert in bathrooms.
Exactly.
And bodily functions. So what I say with economics, billionaires do not create jobs. They exploit demand. They use the resources that they have control over to exploit demand. They do not create jobs. And you say, but Sheetal, all these rich people have jobs. I work for rich people. And that they had, in all of their benevolence, opened up a job board, and I applied to it, and they gave it to me because they wanted my services. They created the job. No, the demand for the task or the service created the job. The guy was beholden to the demand to create the opening. Nobody opens a job or creates a business with any amount of money. Honestly, and they're doing it now, if they don't have to employ a single soul ever, they will. That's what they're doing.
That's the current goal.
That is a clear and present goal, to never have to employ another person for their business.
And they say it outright.
They say it out loud. You got to listen to them. Demand creates jobs. I need a doctor. Did the billionaire create the need to have a doctor? Did they create the doctor? No. Someone decided, well, let me study herbs and shit and see if I can heal you, right? Like, the need for healthcare created doctors. The need for my bedpan to be changed out created nurses. Like, the need for being tended to created these jobs. The need for sanitation created the sanitation job. A millionaire didn't create the job. They just said, oh, I guess people really want their trash taken out. You know what I will do? I will exploit this demand and say, create an infrastructure for that service to be met for a fee. But I ain't picking up no trash. The demand is for someone to pick up trash. So the people are demanding sanitation workers. And the billionaire is just providing a place for that sanitation work to get done under an umbrella.
But that goes.
Anybody could tomorrow say, I want to pick up trash for a fee.
But that goes to the concept of, like, so with the doctors and the sanitation, so billionaires, they have their own need. They get sick. They also need sanitation. So they'll hire somebody for that. But also it's not out of the kindness of their heart. They need those people to be healthy enough to work. They need those people to, not be constantly complaining. But that simple concept of needing those people, they know that they need those people. They don't want to need those people.
Exactly.
And that's the point of the
because
AI.
If billionaires and millionaires and business owners created jobs, when there's a downturn in the economy, they would figure out a way to utilize you. But they don't. They get rid of you.
Yep.
So they're not creating a job. They're not creating a use for you, because they could. By the way, they absolutely could. Yep. I do this every day with my companies and my clients. I always believe that firing people should be the last resort. It has to be the last resort. Find a way to utilize your talent. If you have talent and there's no longer a demand for customer service, Maybe they can be upskilled to programmers, to accountants, to marketing people, to something else that we have a need for in the business. Can they be reskilled? Is there a place where you go, okay, well, maybe there isn't a home for you here, but maybe there's a home for you elsewhere. Can I recommend you somewhere? Those are people who create jobs. And guess who those people are? Those are small business owners. Very, very small business owners. The ones that know your name, the ones that care about your birthday, the ones that aren't trying to stiff you on tips. Those are the people you want to work for. They will help facilitate job creation. And those are the people you should be supporting. Good employers. Meta. Oh, it used to be so fun to work at Meta and Google and Twitter and all these places because the leadership at that point was creating a culture of I give a shit about you. That culture is not there anymore. They're very open and honest. They give a shit about no one. And you need to realize that you can send as much money as you want to a billionaire and they will take it and put it in their pocket and turn their back on you. And the same thing is happening every day that I remember when Kylie Jenner was falling off the billionaire list, the Forbes self-made billionaire list, and people were just sending her money. Sent so that she could be part of a club and never know your name. And she wouldn't walk up the street and say, thanks for the hundo, babes. Here, let me give it back to you. She's not going to do that.
Nope.
They're just going to say thank you. And they're not even going to say thank you.
No,
they're going to say they're entitled.
Yeah.
They're just going to take it from you. And this idea, and I need everybody to understand this, tax policy plays zero role in hiring decisions. Let me say it again for the one listener who we are going to evangelize as followers of Lethal Weapon. Tax policy plays zero role in hiring decisions. Why? Why does tax policy play zero role? I have never once needed a service performed by a person and went, oh, but my net tax rate is 21% and 30 instead of 30. Because remember, it's off of profits, not income. If it were off of income, if it were off of gross, you might be right, but it's off of profits. So if I'm going to hire you and you're going to drive profits, remember, you only make a hiring decision that's profitable, which means I make more money.
But
I'm only giving you 21% of the money I've made for myself after I've hired you.
But that has a question then. Then how come my taxes are off of income? Why aren't mine off of profit based on some level of expected costs and things?
Expected cost of living. Exactly. And that's what we're thinking about with progressive tax policy. I have always believed that you should pay in taxes the amount of benefit you are receiving from the country in which you are able to amass your wealth. Right? So don't tell me that Elon Musk made his billions not off of American workers and American ingenuity and American brain power and American research and development. Don't tell me that. Don't tell me he could have amassed this wealth in China. Because don't tell me he could have amassed this wealth from South Africa, where he's from. Because if he could, he would have, but he didn't. So he can't. So when I think about this, he's benefited a lot from American government and American society. He should pay back into the system the taxpayers that have created him. And then if you are living in poverty and you can't afford your insulin, what good is America doing for you? You could go to Europe. You could go to any one of, I can think of 50 countries where you would be better off than America. Why are you paying so much of your income in tax dollars? Why are you paying sales taxes on weird shit? You're not benefiting properly by being an American citizen because we as Americans are not pooling our tax resources effectively to improve your standard of living.
Yeah, because taxes could bankrupt me. But if it's off of profits for them, it'll never bankrupt them.
No, exactly. And that's what most people don't understand. And they say, oh, well, if capital gains tax is so high, people won't invest. Capital gains is profit. Capital gains is profit. So you're still making money. Tell me, if someone says, okay, I'm going to give you $100 for free, but you got to give $30 to the government. Are you going to say no to the $100? No, it's still
That's
$70
$70,
more
$3,
dollars than you had
yeah.
before.
Yeah, it's free.
Like you're still gonna do it. Capital gains should be taxed appropriately. You're not gonna disincentivize investment. So the only reason why tax policy on capital gains or corporate tax rates disincentivizes businesses or whatever is because they now go, oh, I'm sure I can find some other country that will give me a lower rate. So I'll take my money there because they can buy some politician or some government there. And I kind of like what's happening with some discourse. I really like a podcast called Gary's Economics. I really like some of the things he says in that he goes into, well, why can't you? There are lots of countries, even when you live abroad, and you say, I want to take my tax dollars elsewhere. Say, well, you're still making money off the citizens here. So you're still paying taxes here. Fuck off. Right? So if I'm a New Yorker, right, and I have a business and they say, well, we can't raise taxes on millionaires in New York. How terrible. They'll just move to Florida because if they wanted to move to Florida, they already would have. Numero uno, they already would have. Everybody who's a New Yorker would have moved, who's a millionaire, billionaire in New York would have already moved to Texas. There should be no millionaires or billionaires in New York because Texas and Florida don't have state income tax. There's a bunch of states that don't have state income tax. They could have gone to any one of these states in the last 5 years. So if they were going to go because the tax rates are so high, if Californian rich people were going to move because the taxes are so high, they would have done so. They absolutely would have done so already. There's a reason. Why? Because they love that life in New York. They love the art. They love the culture. They love the music. They love the bars. They love the world that is created by poor progressive New Yorkers creating this wonderful scene for them to mix and mingle and be a part of. The education's better. The healthcare's better. They like it. They get to mix, mingle, and hobnob. They would have to, that same life, that same luxurious life that they have, they can't replicate it here in Florida. A bunch of hedge fund people in COVID tried to move to Florida and they couldn't get the right group of talent here in Florida to remake the hedge fund here. So they all went fucking back to New York. So this idea that, oh, they'll leave. But you make money. You live in Florida. Fantastic. You make your money from businesses and infrastructure provided by the state of New York. You're paying New York taxes. I'll give you an example of another one with Amazon. Amazon for a long time didn't pay sales tax, right? They didn't. They didn't collect or pay it because they were across all states. They were selling to everybody. So they didn't pay it. And then all the states went and got together going, no, you're selling goods. We're not getting any sales tax revenue from goods being sold within the boundaries of our state. And they're like, well, we don't exist in your state. The warehouse is in Georgia. No, like,
screw you, Georgia.
The warehouse is somewhere else. Or what we're selling to you is not a physical good. And so you go, oh, I'm buying from Amazon, so I don't have to pay sales tax. And it's cheaper. And so now local businesses are not collecting sales tax. It really hit the bottom line of sales tax dependent states. So they all got together and said, no, if the resident, whoever bought the good, is a resident of Florida, you have to collect and pay sales taxes to Florida. Even if your business is not here. even if the physical good isn't stored here. But because it was purchased here by a person within these boundaries, even on their phone, not even in a physical store, it's all in the cloud and the servers are in bumblefuck wherever, it's still a sale that occurred within the boundaries of Florida. It's a sales taxable event. That's what we're talking about here. And I like some of these conversations about, yes, we can tax millionaire and billionaires. I don't love a wealth tax. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's so hard to value people's wealth. Like if Elon Musk were to, because all of his wealth is tied in stocks, if he were to dump all of his shares today, now he wouldn't have to dump enough shares to pay his tax bill because it's so small and meaningless relative to how much of his stock gets sold every day.
Mm-hmm.
But let's say he was short on cash and really needed to liquidate. What was worth $100 million might be worth half that now because he has to sell so much of it.
Yeah.
So how do
you
you then value it? How do you value someone where all of their wealth, the wealth that we want to calculate is tied up in art or houses or physical property? Like what if all of their value is tied up in the value of their business, right? What's the business worth? You have a startup, someone says it's worth $10 million. I can't pay for fucking Wayfair pillows. Like it doesn't compute. Like wealth is a hard number to pin down. But if it were me, I would be taxing capital gains a lot harder. I would be taxing inheritances, larger transfers of wealth a lot harder. What's scary to me is I was reading the other day is that inheritances are now going to be taxed a lot more at the lower levels. So you have a family home, transfers of family home from parent to child upon the parent's passing.
Mm-hmm.
That you have to pay the taxes on that transfer of wealth up front.
What?
Yes. And then you have to take possession of that house within a certain amount of time. Otherwise, the government can seize the house and auction it off. This is what I read. This could be a rumor. Fucking AI is messing with my mind.
Sure.
But the idea is that would be a humongous transfer of wealth to people who already have money. Because who buys houses at cash at auction?
Mm-hmm.
Businesses.
Mm-hmm.
Like fucking BlackRock is going to do that.
Right.
So then you have even less. They'd say, oh, this will create more affordable housing. It's going to create even less affordable housing.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what I would do as a progressive tax plan. You should have a progressive tax plan. You shouldn't have a flat tax. You shouldn't have any of those things. And it's good for billionaires. John D. Rockefeller, and the breakup of Standard Oil was regarded as the worst thing that ever happened, right? He ended up more wealthy after things broke apart than he was before. Like a lot of times we think, oh, as billionaires, we got to protect what we have, or as millionaires or whatever, we got to protect what we have. The other side of this equation, a more egalitarian nation, a happier nation, a peaceful nation, yields more benefits for you, a better lifestyle for you, better constructed houses, happier workers, less people want to bring in their pitchfork and murder you. I mean, like, there's a lot of benefits to having a society in which you have the ability to move up economically and not be hungry all the goddamn time.
Sure. So I have a question though. Okay, I understand the difficulty with the wealth tax, but how do you prevent people from then hiding all their money in stuff? Just, okay, I'm not going to get taxed on these stocks.
Okay, so I'm
just going to hide all my money there.
This is what I would do, because there's this thing called buy, borrow, die.
Yeah.
So you take your money, you buy assets, and then you tell the bank and say, my asset, like that Birkin bag by Jane Birkin, just sold for $10 million. It's literally a dusty piece of leather. It's wow. But just because it was the first Birkin or whatever it was, I don't even know, is worth $10 million. So you buy $10 million and you spend it on this asset. It's a physical asset.
Mm-hmm.
And then you borrow against that asset. You say, I have a piece that's worth $10 million. And when I sell it, some fictitious point in the future, when I sell it, then I'll pay my loan back. So I'm borrowing against this asset. That's how Elon Musk pays for his life.
Right.
He doesn't take a salary. He borrows against the value of the stock with the assumption that all of his assets will always go up. And there is a floor, because if the assets drop to a certain level, he has what's called a margin call. He has to sell or find cash somewhere to pay down his debt, because you need to have enough profit between the amount you said it was worth and the amount it's currently worth to be able to keep this loan balance, because they're not going to lose money. The banks are not going to lose money on this. That's what they're promising. Yeah. And so then they borrow and the stock goes up, and they borrow again, because it's like taking a home equity line, right? And you borrow and you borrow. And then you fucking die.
Right.
Right? So now you did. And you go and transfer that money. Now the bank takes possession of the stock. Either that, or enough is liquidated to pay the cash balance to the bank, or it transfers to heirs, and the heirs borrow against an increasing value on the stock. Right? So at some point, the money never fucking gets paid.
Yeah.
They're getting income.
Yeah.
They're able to go on yachts. They're able to have bottles of champagne wherever they go. They're paying money. So that cash is still flowing through a system, but no income has actually been created.
Right.
And so they don't pay any tax on that. Here's what I would do. Anybody who has all loans should be disclosed on tax returns. All of your debt, who you owe, because we don't have balance sheets on tax returns. We don't. You have who you owe and who owes you, right? So you have now a net balance. Your assets should be disclosed. What you own, your cash flow should be disclosed. How much money is flowing through you in your credit cards, right? The bank sent me $200 million. I have cash inflow. And if that loan and the terms of that loan is disclosed, such that I'm making regular payments to pay down this debt on a term, that isn't me dying, right? On a term, which means I have $200 million and I need to pay this back to the bank within 10 years, 30 years, whatever. It's a fixed amount. By the way, there are going to be loopholes. We're going to have to fucking finagle it. But the idea would be, you would then say, okay, if you're on a buy, borrow, die plan and you're getting this income to live your life to not pay taxes, guess what? We're going to tax the cash flow. You have income that you don't owe back to anybody. You've essentially sold rights to this stock. You've now sold it. You've pre-sold it. You still get voting rights and whatever, but the asset now has claims and rights by the bank. And they gave you cash for that right, that future collateral or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And since there's no terms of buying that right back off of you, right? They hold that right indefinitely until the money is paid back. At that point, you got to pay taxes on your cash flow.
Okay.
That's how I would do it. And I think again, people are going to say there's loopholes and there's ways to hide money. There's always ways to hide money. But nobody should be out there bragging that they don't have to pay shit and live a lavish lifestyle and not contribute to the benefits of America and still fucking live here. By the way, undocumented, going back to that, contribute a shishload to the benefits of America, to live here. That they have buy-in. They're paying into Social Security. They're paying into Medicare. They're paying sales taxes. They're paying what they're supposed to pay. They are a net positive to the benefit of America. We're just not using that money properly, but they are. And so this idea that they're the leeches on public resources, I get it's a strain on public resources because it's a lot of people. But if you were a better steward of your tax dollars and not using it to fucking feed billionaires and, stadiums and shit, you might actually be able to build a school or two. You might actually be able to build affordable housing or not. You're choosing to use that money for bullshit.
Okay.
And that's why you don't have enough to deal with the immigrant situation.
So this leads to that question about, well, how unequal is it? Because some inequality is natural unless you're advocating for socialism. So if you're doing capitalism, some inequality is natural. So how unequal is it currently?
So it is so massively unequal. And I think they were talking about Rockefeller had 2% of GDP or something. And I have to really check the math on it because I don't know. Again, AI fucking with my mind.
Well, sure.
I don't know what's in my feed is real. But when you have a CEO or even not even, keep in mind, CEOs are owned. They're also a high level goon to someone even wealthier than
they
they
don't
are.
own it.
They don't own the business. Vast majority of the time. We're forgetting about Zuckerberg and Musk and whatever. But a lot of the times, most of these multinationals are not owned by the CEO. And they get paid a salary and they make a few $1 million, but they're also just fucking, and they still have to work. None of them are sitting around lounging. So this idea that, I forgot my train of thought.
How unequal.
Oh, how unequal. So this idea that, they should be worth 10,000 of their own workers or 1,000 of their workers is nonsense. It's just nonsense. And this idea that the people who are at the top, like Musk should not be worth an entire population of a country. Neither should Zuckerberg or Gates or Buffett or any of them. That nonsense should not exist. It shouldn't be if I were to pose to you a trolley problem, right? And you go, you can either run over Musk or you can run over the population of Belgium, right? So, which would you choose?
Right. Yeah. So, okay. I went ahead just to try and look this up a little bit. What would be a reasonable amount for the bottom half of Americans to own? The percent.
Oh, I think the bottom owns like nothing now,
Right,
but I'm
would be
saying
reasonable?
a reasonable amount. 40?
Okay. So 2.5%.
Yes. 30? Like, what are we talking about?
50% of people. And I'm willing to guarantee you are in the
50%, yes.
Own 2.5%.
But even if you go into the upper middle class, look it up. Look it up for people who make, let's say, $300,000 and less. So we're talking about 95%. That 95% owns what? 10%?
Right. Yeah. So the top 10% hold 67%.
Like, that's insanity.
Mm-hmm.
That's insanity.
Yeah, and I think probably like the bottom 70% own maybe 5 to 10%.
Yeah, that's
nothing.
insanity. And so then you wonder why this idea of democratic socialism is coming around and why we want to have, more public ownership of industry. I'm not for government ownership of most industries. There are certain industries that require government ownership. I believe research is one of them. Like, most research is done by governments and colleges. Healthcare is a right. That should be another one. Education. There's a lot of things that are better provided by the government because like roads and bridges, we want that provided by governments, and we want ownership by the public because you shouldn't have to walk out of your door and pay a toll to step on the sidewalk. at each house,
Mhm.
right? Like I own this much sidewalk. So every time you step on it, you have to pay your neighbor a dime or some shit. Society would fall apart if that
Right.
was the case. So there are some things the public should own because it's a right. It facilitates trade. It facilitates community. It's for our own collective betterment. Do I think the government should own Meta?
No.
I don't think so. Do I think the government should own Apple? No. Do I think the government deserves tax revenue equivalent to the benefit these companies are getting from American government and institutions? Yes.
Mhm.
And so maybe some of that is we have some stock or maybe we have something. But I always feel like because government, especially modern governments, are so easily corrupted, this idea that we wouldn't corrupt these industries and turn them into power grabs by bureaucrats, which is what happens in all sorts of places where the government owns all of the means of production. You have
Mhm.
even more, you definitely have haves and have nots in that situation too. I don't know that that's the best way. I don't know that I'm socialist to the point where the government owns my small business.
No, and I don't think that would work. It has not worked anywhere else really. But going back to the concept of trying to kick out the immigrants, trying to kick out the brown people, trying to kick out all the people in this bottom 50%. Even if you successfully kicked out the entire bottom 50%, you are only getting 2.5% back.
Exactly. It's diminishing marginal returns.
Nothing.
What are you getting from this? I don't understand. You're
own
actually
nothing.
losing money.
Nobody owns anything.
You're losing money. This crusade against Latin or Hispanic people, this crusade against the undocumented is a losing proposition. It is a financial loser for everybody,
Yeah,
whether
it
you're
costs
white or
money.
not, whether you're rich or not. It is a financial loser. It is literally cutting off your nose to spite your face. It is so just the wrong thing to do on any stretch of the imagination for anybody in the population. Doesn't make sense.
And
It would be more beneficial to America financially, tax revenue wise, to find a way to document them all in some way, even if, and I don't know that this is the right thing. And it probably isn't from a humanitarian standpoint of they can't have if you came in without following the visa rules or whatever the rules are that we have for waiting your turn to come to the country, right? If you're so desperate to get in, having some way of, okay, you're on a renewable work visa, no criminal history, no issues. You have to keep renewing it. You have to keep paying this. Like it sets up a really shitty situation of keeping poor. It does. But that's only for that generation, because the generation that gets brought up underneath, the ones that are born here by those parents that make that sacrifice to bring them to a better place, have the opportunity to be citizens themselves. That's the risk you're going to take,
Well,
right? Like I'll
still
never benefit from Social Security. I'll never benefit from Medicare. I'll never benefit from going to school here, but I will create a life for my children y'all, that's the fucking American dream.
Mm-hmm.
That's the Ellis Island dream. That is the Puritan coming to the shores of Plymouth fucking Rock. That's the dream. You may not live to see the benefits of your sacrifice, but your children will. And if we created some system of documenting this and making them taxpayers and making them valid participants, you know how smart a lot of these people are? How incredibly smart a lot of these people are? How much ingenuity they would have? How much innovation we would have if we harness the power of 11 million people that are forced to hide? Like if we had allowed them to come out of hiding and be full-fledged participants in creating a better America, you know how much fucking brain power that is? You know how many of them would be doctors, would be nurses, would be engineers, would be lawyers, would be all sorts of things that we need caregivers in any field, like the fact that because they're undocumented, they're forced into really harsh physical labor jobs because they're afraid of deportation. You have people who could be Mensa members in this population. There absolutely is a good percentage of them that are incredibly intelligent. You can't be stupid and make that arduous journey to get to America the way you did and not be fucking smart. You just can't.
Right.
I don't buy it.
Right.
So I fully believe that if we were smart ourselves, we would find a pathway for legal status for every single one of these undocumented. And then they say the counter argument is that will cause a massive flood at the border of people going, well, I guess I can get in this way and just live a great life. And the infrastructure isn't equipped to stand up hospitals and schools and housing and fire departments and police departments and whatever you need to have a functioning, stable community for that many people all at once. That is a true statement. Yeah. And that's not me just trying to appease a MAGA group.
It's true.
That's a true statement. It is a heavy burden to bring in and facilitate the safe passage of all of these people and finding places for them to make home. That's hard. It's hard and it's expensive. It's a good investment one by one, individually in small groups, right? It's a good investment to make, but it is exceptionally hard and resource intensive to allow 10,000 to show up on one day. Where do they go? We can't have people, we're humans. We can't have them sleeping on the street. We can't have them hungry. We can't have them begging. They're humans. They deserve, the right to live life as a human. So I kind of sympathize and empathize and understand the challenge of that. The challenge of what it means to create a legal pathway through the undocumented system. If you do it, then everybody's going to go, I guess we can skip the lines and just go straight in. We have a border that doesn't matter. And we can just go pop up in Texas and, sleep outside of an Arby's, right?
We're still waiting on you, Arby's.
Yeah. So I do get that. And so that is a harder question.
But with all this inequality, I feel like even those issues could be mitigated. There's so much money out there that you could prepare for, not that everybody should be allowed to come in all at once, but it doesn't have to be the small trickle we're forcing it to be now.
Well, and here's the challenge, because we can see this in all sorts of displacement situations around the world, right? Where you have a natural disaster, where you have war, 1.5 million people migrating in the span of 6 months. That's a lot of people for any country to absorb, let alone America. And I know we're the richest nation in the world by whatever standard we're using. Even for us to absorb 1.5 million at once would be hard, right? And so you end up with this really unfortunate situation of, I guess we have to deploy resources to building refugee camps, building infrastructure to house and support all of these people at once. And it is an incredible drain on resource. It requires the sacrifice of a lot of communities, which they would be resentful of. I'm not ignorant to that fact. I think that gripe kind of makes sense. But if we think about it, that their home countries are so dangerous, right? They're fleeing war. And they have to go somewhere safe. But the idea of creating refugee camps is horrible for America. How do we do that? And so I don't have an answer on how we deal with that level of displacement, because that would be the argument I would see, is if we found a way to document all the undocumented, we would have millions showing up at the southern border.
Sure. And again, you don't have to let them all in all at once. But there is the concept of like, if we were investing in these people where we already were planning a lot of jobs, we already had extra housing. In essence, if the people in America weren't already destitute, we would feel like we could. Better than this, at least.
And I think the conversation always should be how, not if. This is a hard topic. This is a hard problem.
Sure.
And I don't understand, because with America, always like land of the brave, home of the free, whatever this is. Land of the free, home of the brave, right?
Yeah.
And yet, anytime we bring up a hard problem like climate change or immigration or criminal justice reform, we always go, it's too hard. You know how smart people are here? The fact that we keep saying that it's too hard is obnoxious to me.
Well, so I agree. And again, the vast majority of people are poor. And so I agree 100% that if you make, let's say 100,000 even, and you're already giving 20,000 to various taxes and stuff, and yeah, okay, you don't have a lot left to give.
Mm-hmm.
Let alone if you make 50,000,
right,
or whatever, right?
Right.
Sure. With numbers like 2.5%, there's not a lot of juice left to squeeze.
But you know how
help.
much giving actually happens in that
Oh,
community?
for tons. The constant, helping it in that bottom 50%. But the thing about it, and this is what bothers me, is that's not the group that needs to help.
No, that's exactly. We shouldn't be asking that group
This
to do
shouldn't
more.
be your problem.
But
And there is juice to be squeezed somewhere.
where else? And I would argue. So here's the thing. There is juice to be squeezed elsewhere. But it's not without impact to even that group, right?
Mm-hmm.
So think about it. You're going to school. We find some way, and let's say mass displacement, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
there's a hurricane or something, and all of South Florida is washed away, right? Like gone.
Mm-hmm.
We have to think about with Puerto Rico and how many people had to move, or
Mm-hmm.
anybody having to move. That's a lot of people. That's millions of people that have to move.
I agree. Yeah.
So now, even if there's financial resources, there's still time, effort, and sacrifice by local communities, right? Like you go to a school and now you can't have an 18-person class size. You have to have a 48-person class size because you have to absorb
I agree.
a lot of moving people.
In the concept that we have not already prepared better education, more jobs, more professionals. There are a lot of people currently who cannot beg for a job.
No,
They
and that's the
can
truth.
walk outside and say, I will chop off an arm to get a job. And they can't. Nobody will give them a job. They cannot get a job. There are no jobs. It's that hard to get the job.
And that's my argument too. And we talk about Medicaid and first of all, your healthcare shouldn't be tied to whether you are working or not. It just shouldn't be, because it's a human right. We don't want sick people out on the street. I don't know how to explain this enough. We pay, whether you pay from your front pocket or your back pocket, you pay for the impoverishment of others.
Mm-hmm.
When you deny healthcare to your fellow man, you're paying for it. And it is costing you more than if you just provided them healthcare. We have the most expensive healthcare system in the world with the least favorable outcomes.
Mm-hmm.
Taking more healthcare from poor people will not make your healthcare better. It just doesn't. It won't. It actually makes it worse and more expensive. So stop it. But this idea that we can keep people poor And this idea that we can take their healthcare away and that will spur them to not be lazy and go get a job. And that requires the very millionaire benefactors that we have to hire them for a service, to use them for labor. And there are a lot of people who don't have the necessary skills or the necessary qualifications, which are all made up, by the way. So much of it is, so much work is entry level, and we make up all sorts of barriers to not hire people because it's a pain in the ass. But by the way, that more than tax policy, the fact that it's a pain in the fucking ass to hire a person and it's expensive to hire a person is the reason we don't. And by the way, we can also get our current workers to do the jobs for free by promising fake bonuses and fake promotions. All companies do it all the time. So we don't want to hire anybody. Like, companies don't want to hire people. It's a pain in the ass. You'd rather just get more juice out of the guy you have until he fucking loses his mind. And then you either fire him or he quits. And then you find another body to slot in there to do even more work than the previous guy for less money. That's the corporate mindset. It's disgusting. There's staff shortages everywhere. Everybody complains they don't have enough people, but they don't hire enough people because they don't want to spend any money. That is what's impacting hiring, not tax policy. So you say to these people, get a job. All these able-bodied men, right? They talk about able-bodied men with no dependents should go get a job in order to afford their insulin. Right? Except that requires an employer to go and hire that person. And we offer no incentives for hiring more people. We don't provide tax breaks for hiring more people, which that would make more sense to me. Is offering more tax incentives to employ people so that they can actually participate in society and provide for themselves and be self-sufficient. There's a lot of benefits to hiring people. You should want to keep people. Retention is a goal should be a goal of all companies. Retention. Have people be employed. Don't try to lay them off. We as a society, as a government, would want to incentivize you to do that. That makes a lot of sense. But you say like, oh, but I can't get a job. I would go cherry picking or strawberry picking or whatever it is. A lot of natural born Americans are not going for those jobs.
Obviously not.
The lowest job they'll take is retail or fast food, right? Like,
well, yes.
That's what they're talking about. But even those places, there's so many people applying for those jobs that you're one of 10,000 people applying for those jobs. And those jobs are going away. They're employing less and less people in retail. They're employing less and less people in fast. You have the kiosk. We go to fast food. How many people are in the counter taking orders? Soon there will be no one.
There's nowhere for people to
eventually
go to.
There will be nobody that needs to mind a till, right? So those jobs, what we used to call low skill entry level labor for people who didn't graduate high school or didn't go to college, or even if they did, can't find a job in their field and are doing this, those jobs are going away. There's heavy investment to automate those jobs. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? I don't know, but they're going away. So now what do those people do? We're eliminating incentives for them to go and get skills at school. They can't support themselves. They can't pay rent. They can't do this. Now they can't get healthcare. And so you're just creating a whole bunch of people, especially the able-bodied men with no dependents. You're making them helpless and hopeless. And what do helpless and hopeless people do? They get despondent. They can get violent. They can get restless. They can it affects them mentally so much in a negative way. And we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing to help those people. We're just not. Yes, able-bodied men with no dependents also are human beings and need support too. And you can even take that to the relationships discussion and all of that. It is not feminism that is preventing men from having healthy, sound relationships. It is the power structures that we've created that prevent people, men and women, from having substantive conversations about their life together, having substantive conversations about money, having substantive conversations about interest in person with each other to be able to form a bond. And when you're telling women, okay, go and find somebody, it doesn't matter who they are, if they have a job or not. And then that guy doesn't feel good about himself, isn't confident, isn't full of life, isn't like the most interesting man in the world. Like a lot of women date men who don't have a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
That happens all the time. Our brother is married because, through med school, and they say, okay, well, it's potential to earn money. But I think if he were an engineer going to make just the same as her, I think she would also find him attractive.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of women marry men who don't make as much money as they do, as long as he's a full and complete person. But by keeping men from being able to find jobs so they can feel good about themselves and feel like they're contributing to society and feel like they have enough free time and resources to go enrich their minds and their souls and their spirits, they're upset. So then why are you asking women to date them? They're sad, like they're unhappy and angry.
But it creates a vicious, endless cycle.
It creates a vicious cycle. And by the way, those women also are by themselves, not able to find someone who can relate to them because a lot of them have put in the work to go to college, to get a degree, to go and fight for the job and whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And so they're looking for a companion. They're looking for a partner, and they're not able to find one that feels complete within himself. And I think that red pill society is so bad and detrimental to this group of people, especially because again, when you're poor and you have limited resources and you feel helpless and hopeless, you'll listen to anyone that tells you it's not your fault. And it's not your fault. Like when I look at an able-bodied man, no dependents, no wife, no kids, no prospects, right? It is not helpful to look at that man and go, it's your fault. You suck. Mm-hmm. It doesn't help me. It doesn't help them. But if it were me talking to that group saying, okay, how do you participate in the American dream? How do you push this process forward for yourself? You got to work on you, dude.
Right. So,
and America should be behind you in working on you, dude. Like we should be
that concept
good
right
with
there.
That.
So when you say, okay, working on that person. So one of the reasons I don't like the argument about the strain of, bringing in people and, oh, it's too hard to accommodate. It's when it's time to go and have a world war, we don't seem to have any issue mobilizing everyone, training them, turning them into soldiers.
Oh yeah, we can put
rapidly.
up a field hospital in 2 hours, right? Like
field hospitals. We can ship millions of people across the world to oceans.
Yes, and we
land,
you're right.
Build tanks, millions of tanks, millions of planes within months. It is not true that we are incapable of building these places. We don't want to build.
And that requires us to use our military power and our military strength and training for humanitarian reasons in our own country.
But it's not even military training to know how to build a field hospital. It's just how do you build a field hospital?
Well, but it is. That knowledge is held by, right?
Well, sure, but does it need to be held that top secret, how to make fast stuff?
It's not that. It's because you control the workforce. So for example, if I were, because all military members are government employees.
Well, sure.
Right? So I would say, okay, you're going into this area, this war zone. You need to turn up a barracks and a hospital and an office and a this and a that. You have 24 hours. They'll do it, right?
Mhm.
It's not that they have, those are people, those schematics exist everywhere. But the question is, when you have private citizens, right?
Mhm.
They're not government employees.
Well, sure.
How do you get them to leave their job, put them on payroll for the government, pay them to go and stand up this hospital, pay for the resources, pay for the supplies?
Sure.
So it requires the government. It does, whether it's the military or
Well,
not.
it is the government.
But
Yeah.
it requires the government to mobilize a group of people. It is easier to mobilize government employees who you can tell this is your job or not job than
But
it
there-
is to say, okay, I'm going to pull the social worker and this person and the lawyer from over there, and I'm going to ask for volunteers from the community. And like,
Yes, it is hard. And I will.
it's harder.
But
Yeah.
even so, there are people without jobs who want jobs. There are people who could take time off. There are ways.
Right. But it's not as fast
It's
as
not,
as you would think.
Sure, it's not as fast. But again, between companies, because I would still ask then, when COVID hit, and that's a global pandemic, how the heck did we manage to handle that? And yes, it was hard and it was painful. But I remember we shut down, and 3 weeks later we reopened, and every store had freaking glass panes everywhere. How'd we manage to ship them all this glass? How'd we manage to make all this crap? We can do it.
You know, so the answer, and I think AOC says it best. And you know, I know that the world has whatever feelings about her that they want to have. But she does say something really smart. She says, when we need to fight a war,
Yeah.
when we need to pay for a stadium, when we need to pass tax cuts for the wealthy, no one ever asks what the price tag is. No one. We
Mhm.
never ask. We just say, well, we're doing it. And for good reason. Let's say it's, we need to support Ukraine or whatever country we're supporting, or we're going to war ourselves. And we never ask. But when it comes time to doing the right thing for people in our own country, and this is a big right-wing gripe. Why is it that we care so much about immigrants, but we don't care about veterans? Why don't we care
Right.
about veterans?
I would agree
Like, the
with that.
truth is, we should be caring about veterans.
Our own people are
It
struggling.
shouldn't be an either or. It shouldn't be, I need to fuck over the undocumented so I can provide healthcare to veterans. Just so you,
And that's still
and
not.
they're
gonna-
taking away
yeah.
healthcare from everybody.
They're not
but
gonna
they're
give
not.
it.
They didn't increase VA budgets. They decreased VA
Yeah.
budgets. So we need to understand that they're screwing both groups.
And I'm saying that
We
if you-
can do both. We
if you
actually can
invest-
make life better for both communities.
if you invest in Americans, if you invest in educating them, if you invest in training them, that builds a lot of talent to create a lot of the great things. For instance, just as simple as I don't have to watch, I don't know, Bad Boys 17 because now somebody's smart enough to write something that isn't Bad Boys 17. I'm tired. I'm tired of the sequel, the person who's 80 coming back, but they were in a buddy cop movie. And so now you've got geriatric people in their buddy cop movie. What? Having smarter,
Yeah.
more talented people is more fun.
for all of us. It's so obnoxious. Yes, it's and you know my feeling on investing in education. One, it's always the first budget cut. It is the stupidest thing we do as
Mhm.
Americans, that when times get tough, we'll just take it from our kids.
Mm-hmm.
We'll just make sure that they can't have markers, those damn kids and their markers. But like,
Mm-hmm.
even for student loan debt, this all happened because we stopped subsidizing higher education. Like, if if I were running things and they say, oh, we can't just pay it off and make it for free. One, they've paid so much in interest that they've more than paid off the benefit they've gotten from that degree. It's not like it's a whole bunch of people who paid nothing into the system and now got a free education.
Mm-hmm.
But again, so what? We are Americans. Having an educated population is good for us. It's an investment in our future. It is an investment in our innovation. It is an investment in our standing in the world and our ability to do hard things.
You will have better technology, more fun stuff. You know, the stuff we love will have better stuff.
Yes. Like it is something that makes sense. And we have this group that now says, no, we don't need college degrees. College degrees are meaningless. We need less people going to college. Understand that rich people are still sending their kids to college. All those people are educated. They're not dropping out of high school. So there is a reason a whole bunch of people are trying to convince you to not get educated. You can get educated and still work a trade job. Should you pay $200,000 to get a finance degree and then go be a plumber? No. But should you have higher education available to you so you don't have to be seduced by AI into believing Tom, Dick, and Harry are coming to take your job? Yeah, you probably should. We should be investing in you being educated. And I hope you're a fucking badass plumber. Like, you can still do that.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with being a tradesman. There's nothing wrong with being whatever, serving in whatever occupation you want to serve. And college isn't the only way to get an education. That's true. But should it be $30,000 a year? No, you're not getting that benefit. And I know so many college graduates that are coming out that don't know their head from their ass. So they're not even going there and taking advantage of the education that they're being afforded.
I would even say things like, okay, because I've heard this complaint. Well, but what if I don't want to get that education? I'm now not getting any of the benefit. Well, I would then say, well, then why don't we invest also in the trade job education and call that as still an education, training as another type of education.
Yes, investment in your future
so
is for better.
Can be invested in.
But again, we're investing in your primary education, that public education that should be invested in. And I'm a believer that it should be interest free or close to interest free.
Right.
Peg it to inflation or something. But 3%, there should be nobody paying 18% on a fucking student loan. I don't care what bank fucking swindled you into that. And that what school wouldn't provide you student aid. Like, that's fucking usury, like, to me.
Why you got to make profit off this?
Like, as a country, we believe you should be educated. And that's why we should have not turned it into a loan program to begin with. If we were subsidizing public higher education, you could go there for cheap, which is how everybody in the 70s and 80s did it. It was the ending of subsidized higher public education that caused the shit to fucking skyrocket, because now the schools are reliant on individual tuition and not support from their local and state and federal governments. This is just nonsense. We're just not using the resources properly. And that's why we hate our Congress people, and that's why we hate the budgets. We're not using our resources properly. But if we're Americans and we're smart and we're brave and we're free, we should be able to do hard things. And that means electing officials, electing representatives who have half a brain.
And Americans, not Republicans or Democrats, Americans, everyone, you should be invested in. And you know that you aren't being invested in.
Yes.
I don't care whose party you're voting for. Because again, Democrats suck. They don't actually care either.
The vast majority of them,
Yeah.
I would believe that. Yeah.
So, no matter who you are, if you are struggling to pay your mortgage, if your car broke down and your life would end, you should be invested in. Because I know for me, if my car breaks down, my life ends.
Yeah, your ability to get to work. I mean, we don't need more poor people. We don't need it. We don't need more billionaires. We don't need it. We
Right.
don't need the American dream isn't, I want to be a billionaire. The American dream is to be able to do better 10 years from now than you're doing today, and to do possibly better than your parents. Like, your parents isn't the ceiling.
Right.
And the fact that today your parents' lifestyle is the ceiling, you can't hope to do better than that for the vast majority of people.
Yeah.
Like, we're not talking about, there are people that are doing better, but not,
There's always exceptions. Yeah.
for a lot of people, they're not going to do better than their parents. That shouldn't be. It's, the goal isn't to become a billionaire. And by the way, if you're in one of those groups going, well, I want to be a billionaire someday, think about why. I want to, like, is it because you want to be in the club? Is it because you want to own a football team? Is it because you need to be in some history book? What is it that means you need that much money? Because you don't. You don't. To be happy, you don't need that much money. And I would argue, look at that billionaire group and you find me someone who's happy. You find me someone who's happy. Ain't none of those motherfuckers happy. None of them are at peace. None of them feel good about themselves. They're all fucked up in amazingly awful ways. So why do you want to join that club so bad? And why are you simping for these people? Like, I don't understand why you feel the need to defend those who don't need defending. Like, they have no use for you. They have plenty of money. Why are you sitting there trying to defend? Like, again, it's like watching a superhero movie and the superhero is fighting off all the villains like goons, right? Like, these little guys in suits and their guns, and they're defending their boss. Why are you guys sitting there getting shot up by Tony Stark? Like, I don't know why you're putting your life on the line. Your prosperity on the line. Everyone's prosperity on the line. So you can suck Bezos' dick. I don't understand that.
Right. I don't understand. And again, using the math concept as an example, if you were somebody lucky enough to say that you have 100,000 in savings, investment, whatever, which would be just an extraordinarily good amount, what you compare to a billionaire with just a single billion is that for every dollar you have, they have 10,000. So imagine somebody hands you $1 and then hands them 10,000, and then hands you another $1 and then 10,000. It's such a staggering difference in amount of money. We say these words billion, but people can't actually conceptualize $1 billion.
How much money that is. We're talking about hundreds or thousands of years.
How much is 10,000 worth to you? Now, they get that for every dollar you're getting. That is really hard.
And your goal shouldn't be like, wow, it must be nice. I would like to be like them. It's not beneficial to you or to anybody, or even to their psyche. These people are crazy. They're
And
messed
depressed.
up in the head. Like, they need help and they need to be relieved.
Has anybody
of this
watched
obligation.
Elon recently?
Like,
That
he's
dude
not okay.
is not okay.
He's just not okay. Like, he went full Nazi. Like,
Well, but even like his last day with Trump,
yes.
he looked like a broken man who was like super depressed. Like, what happened to you? What happened to you? It's been 3 months or something. Like, what happened to you there? He looked like somebody had shot his dog. Like, that's how sad he was.
Honestly, they shot his ability to make money. Like, think about it. It really hurt his businesses and his finances. He's still worth crazy amounts of money. His net worth hasn't fallen to anything where anybody's like ready to kill him, but he really believed his own hype.
Yeah.
He really believed he could buy America. He was that far gone in his thinking that he believed he could do that. He's not okay. And if you're in the millionaire group, I've seen so many of these TikToks where it's like, we're the poor people and we're the rich people. And they're like, we need to tax the rich. And they're like, well, I'm rich. Motherfucker, you're broke. You have
No,
1 point. Why? like, oh, and they ask, how much money did you make last year? Well, I made $1.7 million last year. That was amazing. Yeah. They piss that money. You are an ant to these guys that you're advocating because you're so desperate to join that club that you're willing to be the one sitting at the wall trying to keep everybody starving. Like, why?
Yeah, it's not real wealth.
Like stop simping for these guys. Like, it's not cute.
And it is detrimental. It will inevitably implode the system.
It's imploding the system.
It's people are not excited about being hungry. And
eventually people have nothing else to lose.
They don't, yeah.
So I always, and I say it all the time, that when you have vast income inequality, look at every revolution that has ever happened in societies, or from beginning of time on, that when you have that, you're going to have violent revolution that either yields an egalitarian society or an authoritarian. It doesn't always yield a positive outcome, but you're going to have revolution. And guess what? The ones with the money don't win.
Yeah.
That money gets taken from you, whether you decide to pay it in taxes or not. So I've always said, if I was a billionaire, if I was one of these people, I would be one of those people going, tax me. Make it so that I'm paying into the system. Or I'm doing as much as I possibly can for my local communities with my money and my business, such that I'm improving the lives of my neighborhood, like, and my country. Like, you need to do it. You're more likely to hold on to it if you give up fractions of it willingly than if you just say, no, mine, and I need more.
Because once people are already dying,
they don't care. They don't have anything left to lose. And we're barreling towards it. And I don't know what's on the other side. We very much could become an authoritarian country. We very much could throw away the Constitution tomorrow. There's so many people who don't believe in the fundamental freedoms of the Constitution, who don't believe in the Bill of Rights, who are yearning for an authoritarian government so they can go to work, make their paycheck, and go home and never have to vote and never have to deal with any kind of decision making again, without understanding that you're not going to be wealthier in that world. You're going to be poor, and there will be no way out. Yeah.
Once you're trapped in that, there's no way out.
It doesn't matter what race you are or religion you are at that point. There will be no way out. There's every incentive to keep you where you are. And that doesn't make me a revolutionary. It doesn't make me wanting an anarchist. I'm not trying to overthrow the government. But we could have a better government if we just gave a shit and tried. And do your homework for your country.
This isn't about wanting a revolution. This is about preventing one. We like America. We want it to stay. But it's barreling out of control to not being sustainable.
Yes, and it doesn't have to be this way. And we could do better, and we can do hard things. And there are brave people in this country, and we just need to see them be brave. And if you're in the government or in some kind of field where you have an influence, try to use it. If you can, try to use it. If you have any kind of resources that insulates you from the horrors that are happening, try to use that influence to do something positive. Anything positive. It would be nice.
Right.
I'm not trying to be a bitch about it, but we are American, and this is America, and America has a very violent past. It has a dark past, and there's a lot of parts of it that you can look at and feel sad about it and say, this is my fault. It's not your fault. But it is your responsibility. It's your responsibility to understand it. It's your responsibility to do better. White people aren't bad people. There's no reason to believe that. They're not bad people intrinsic to the race or intrinsic to the religion. You're not bad. But you have a responsibility to see the darkness within this country for what it is. And not be ashamed of it, not cower in a corner and all the other countries are better than me. They're not. They all suck too. They can all suck my dick.
They're
horrible.
most of the time worse.
Yes. So where there's no comparison of we're better, they're worse. Everybody's bad. But we do have a responsibility as Americans to try our hardest to look at the darkness of our past, look at the mistakes of our past, the things we said, that might not have been such a good idea. Maybe we shouldn't have had asbestos in all the houses, right? Like maybe we have a regulation. Maybe we don't need kids in the factory. Maybe just a little bit. Maybe that was a mistake. Maybe that wasn't the heyday we should be trying to go back to.
Apparently taking kids out of the workforce didn't bankrupt the billionaires either.
It didn't. We have so many billionaires, and not having child labor wasn't the reason we couldn't make more billionaires. We don't need 8-year-olds to go to the factory. Mm-hmm. We don't. That wasn't a virtue of our past.
That's not the dream.
That's not the dream. We can do better than that. There's another solution. Let's use our brain power. We got a lot of brain power in the United States. A lot of it.
People are very smart.
We can do hard things.
Mm-hmm.
We can solve big problems. And if we can't, and if it's hard, ask ChatGPT.
It has all the answers. They're not good answers, but it has the answers.
It does. We can use AI to solve hard problems.
Exactly. If you're okay with having a third arm, AI is where you're at.
And before we have the same problem as last time, this is where we're going to end because I'm running out of battery. And because this is a ghetto ass show.
Heck yeah, man. We're professionals.
And I'm not even waiting for it to turn off. So this is Sheathel Weapon. I'm Lethal Sheathel. This is Biggie Trog. We're signing off. I'm going on vacation next week because I bougie like that. Speaking about the poor.
That's
bougie. Right. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be on vacation. You won't get a new episode from me, but we will come back hopefully soon with guests. I'm very excited to start getting our guests back into the cycle and talking about more ridiculous things. And so to close it out, not all pee-pee times are poo-poo times, but all poo-poo times are pee-pee times. Arby's.
Thanks for hanging out with us today. If you love this episode, or if you at least didn't hate it, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss what's coming next. And hey, share it with your friends, share it with your family. Until next time, stay bold, stay real, peace out, deuces, and keep speaking your mind. See you soon.